welcome. You're watching NewsX and I'm Megha Sharma. And this is the year-ender special statistically speaking series, the Bharat Pulse Survey. We on NewsX have conducted an exhaustive year-ender Bharat Pulse Survey to gauge the pulse of the nation on a number of issues ranging from governance to foreign policy, politics to India's growth story. First up on Bharat Pulse Survey is the subject of India. How the country has fared in the year gone by. How have the people of India fared in the year gone by? We asked our viewers to take a poll and this is their verdict. In fact, let's start off with the 5 surveys that we are going to be conducted in a span of 2.5 hours. And beginning with the survey number 1, we are talking about governance. We have asked 5 questions and this is the response that people have given us. And let's take a look at how you have, our viewers, voted on this massive issue of governance, on this issue of India and its growth story. Taking a look at these 5 questions, we'll be able to gauge the pulse of the people, the citizens of our country, and what do they think of how the country has fared in 2024 and what the outlook of the country is going to be in the coming new year 2025. Here's a look at question number 1 on the survey. How do you think India is progressing as a country overall? Which a large percentage of you feel that the progress with which India is growing is good. People who have voted for an excellent performance when it comes to the progress report of our country is 31%. 19% of you feel that India is progressing at an average rate. 8% of you feel that the progress of India has been poor in 2024. The next question that we asked of our viewers was, what is your future outlook for India in 2025? Well, a large percentage of you, which is 55% of you, have said that the future outlook for India in 2025 is positive. Well, 19% of you voted saying that the future outlook of India is very positive. Well, 8% of you feel that India's future is looking bleaker than it was at 8%. And 2% of you feel that it is a difficult time that India will have to face in 2025 in terms of how it fares. Let's take a look at question number 3, where we spoke and talked to the viewers and sought their response on how do they think the family income has changed in the past year. And here's a look at the survey results. Well, a maximum number of you, 43% of you, have said that your family income has increased, your household income has increased, and that's a good indication. Well, 38% of you say that your family income has remained the same, it has been constant. 19% of you feel, however, that your family income has gone down in the year 2024. We spoke about the happiness index of the people of our country. How happy are you with your life? Here's a look at the survey results. 41% of the people feel that they are happy with their way of life, with their current economic, social situation in our country. 27% of the people feel they are very happy of their current situation at their homes and their lifestyles that have improved. Well, there are 15% of the people who are neutral to this question. They do not have high expectations, neither do they have a very bleak scenario of the way they have been living their life. 14% of you are unhappy with the way your life, your happiness index is being indicated. Very unhappy at 3%. We also asked our viewers the question about, do you think India will become a developed nation by 2047? And this is what you had to say. Well, 59% of you feel that yes, by 2047, India will become a developed country. There are 22% of you feel who are at this point of time at a 50-50 situation when it comes to them assessing if India is indeed going to become a developed nation in the next 50 years. 1% of you cannot make up your mind. Well, 18% of you feel that no, it will take India longer than 2047 to become a developed country. So there are these 5 questions that was asked in the survey of the Bharat Pulse Survey, survey number 1, this is about India, and taking a look at these results, taking a look at how you have decided to vote, especially on these issues that are concerning your welfare, that are concerning your improvement in life, is now the time for our panelists to also get into the discussion, and let's try to understand, divide it up and get into the crux of the issues that had been raised in the survey, and what do they make of the survey results that we have gotten for NewsX on the Bharat Pulse Survey. Joining me on the telecast is Dr. Sharat Kohli. He's a senior economist. I also have with me Sumit Peer, who's a political commentator. I come to you straight, Dr. Sharat Kohli, about the survey result, and I'm going to take it, one question after the other. So we have these 5 questions. Let's divide it up through the course of the 25 minutes in which I'm going to have a discussion with you. And the first question we asked about the progress of our country. How do you view India is progressing? And India has progressed in the last 12 months. It's a good indication that 42% of the people feel that India has performed well, it has progressed well in 2024. When it comes to 31% of the people who have voted and said that India has performed excellently in the last 12 months, 19% say that India has performed averagely, and 8% feel that India's progress has been 8%. What do you view? How do you view this survey result, or what the people have to say?
Good evening, Megha, and good evening to Sumit and, of course, the NewsX viewers. I think the survey seems quite accurate, because when you speak to the people at the ground level on a one-to-one basis, of course, yours was a professional survey, probably spread across sample sizes here and there. But, we as economists, when we speak, or when I speak to people across the board, the results are pretty much similar. There is a larger group of people who feel India has moved on. Over the last year, we progressed well. It was a difficult year. We should not forget this was a year of general elections. And year of general elections is typically, characterized by model code of conduct, characterized by policy paralysis for some times, when the governments cannot take certain decisions. So despite that, if there is a group of people, and a larger group of people, who say India has performed excellently, India has done reasonably well, I think it's a matter of credit. And let me, as an economist, let me go down to the bottom of it. Of course, yours was a questionnaire format survey where people had to answer certain questions. But what went underneath when somebody said that country has performed excellently in last 1 year? Why did somebody say that? So I'll rather focus on that. I'll try and decipher the mood of the people who responded to the survey. So the top of the list for me, Megha, is the push on infrastructure. And while saying this, I'm just removing that portion when there was a policy paralysis or a model code of conduct because of elections. But generally speaking, the ports, the airports, the highways, smart cities, every kind of railway stations, every kind of infrastructure we saw coming up in this country, either it was being renovated, or it was being created afresh, or it was being redeveloped, or it was being improvised.
Right.
So I think
in fact, yes, you're absolutely right, because one of the survey questions, the 24 of them, we did speak about infrastructure, and did the citizens of our country realize and feel that infrastructure growth in our country has been rapid and has been progressing in the last 12 months, and then we got very positive responses. So you're absolutely right. One of the key factors on the basis of which people have cast their vote, taken the poll, is that.
Yeah, because. Why Megha, I put that on the top was because infrastructure growth pushes the economy. It's one of the very important engines of growth. So it pushes the economy all through. It increases people's income, it increases public utilities, and it gives a feel-good factor when people start using this infrastructure, whether it is roads or bridges And the second thing, Megha, very important aspect is 25 crore people, that number we started hearing from the beginning of this year, although it came earlier, moving from multi-dimensional poverty index to the lower middle class, or shall I say, moving out of that. I think that for me, because the moment you get facilities like toilets, you get facilities like housing, sanitation, education, health, when people start getting these lifestyle facilities, and when you go and ask them that did our country progress, obviously they'll come back and say, yes, I now have a toilet. I now have a sanitation facility. I now have a house under Pradhan Mantri Awas.
Yeah.
I'm now accessible to education, health.
Right, absolutely.
So I think
absolutely. I'll try to keep it tight and crisp because we have to go through all those 5 questions,
Okay.
and I'm going seeking your
All right.
responses as well. Sumit, again coming to you about how the country has progressed, and there are a number of schemes that were mentioned by Dr. Sharat Kohli as well. Do you think that have had a positive impact in the way people view their life and lifestyle?
Megha ji, thank you for having me on this show, and a very important show rather. And I agree with what Dr. Kohli has said. I mean, look, when you talk of the country's development, it's not the people in middle class or lower middle class or the rich people. When I talk of masses, when I talk of millions of people, first of all, today in this country, there is around 60 crore people who have insurance of 5 lakh rupees. It's a big, big thing. Health insurance everywhere in the world is expensive. Name a country which has an insurance of 60 crore people with a 5 lakh rupee. 5 lakh rupees is a substantial amount, even if I look at dollar terms. Then we are distributing ration to around 80 crore people even today because they have come up of the poverty line, and we have enough supplies to give it to them. Look at Pradhan Mantri, Jan Aushadhi. The cost of a tablet, if one tablet is 100 rupees here, usually in America and Europe it is 1,000 rupees. When you go to a Pradhan Mantri, Jan Suvidha Kendra or a Jan Aushadhi Kendra, the same tablet becomes to 10 rupees. So look from a tablet which is here 10 rupees and look in America or Europe which is 1,000 rupees for the same tablet. Now, getting medicines affordable to the last man, I think this is the biggest revolution because I have seen in my locality and around, I keep a track of them. These Jan Aushadhi shops have come so much. A lot of people who were earlier only going to this, I'm not trying to demean anybody, Neem Hakims and all, those quacks and all. Now they've started taking the medicine, and this medicine is very, very affordable. Diabetes, thyroid,
Right.
blood pressure, all
Also,
these
obviously,
medicines.
health services, healthcare, when it comes
Health,
to giving you
infrastructure,
schemes with
insurance,
regards to Ayushman
education.
Bharat, those Ayushman cards have made, they are game changers as well as what you're saying. Okay, all right. Let's take a look at the second question that we asked in the India survey, which is the India growth story. And we talk about what is your future outlook for India in 2025. So we're looking forward. And in terms of what has happened in 2024, people are making estimates, and it's interesting to note because again, a large percentage of people, 55% of people, have said that yes, the future outlook of India 2025 looks bright. Sharad, would you like to comment on this?
Yes, definitely, Megha. Since you asked me to keep it crisp, definitely it is because you only make a forecast by the precedence. If the precedence has been good, if the last year has been good, I can say that by next year. However, there may be geopolitical challenges. There may be geo-economic challenges. But we are a world in ourselves. We should not forget that. And Megha, very important aspect is that when I spoke of the 25 crore people moving from multi-dimensional poverty index, they have moved on to lower middle class. You know the size of our middle class? As an economist, my own estimate says that size of our middle class is twice the size of the American population. The American population right now is about 33 to 35 crores. Our size of middle class is now 65 to 70 crores. So I think with people moving from lower middle class, poverty to lower middle class to middle class, I think that has been transformational. And when I call them middle class, I just don't call them for the sake of name. I mean, they have gained in their incomes, they have gained in their lifestyles, the way they live, wherever they live. And the most interesting part, Megha, is that even if these people live in villages, we should not connect middle class to only town living or urban living. Even if they live in villages, their lifestyles have improved. That for
I
me
think
is
more
the biggest
importantly,
takeaway.
especially for the rural parts of the country, and you rightfully mentioned when you talk about the schemes, when you talk about Jan Aushadhi, when you talk about toilets, when you're talking about providing Ujjwala Yojana, Awas, these are all directly impacting the women, directly impacting the families, directly giving a feeling of empowerment for women. And if a woman is educated, if a woman is empowered, then the entire family is empowered, and the entire family gets educated, and the country progresses. All right, I'll come to you once again, Sumit, and your response. What do you think has persuaded people, influenced people in our country, the viewers who have cast their vote and taken part of in our survey, to feel that, to feel very strongly that 2025 is going to be an even better year as compared to 2024?
I think the things are very clear. Look at the geopolitical challenges. Look at the price rise in the world. Look at in American, the repo rates or the interest rates have gone 5 times. In UK, they touched 10.5%, almost 5 times what they have been. Singapore, Thailand, everywhere the prices and the interest rates are going up. If you look at our country, we have been maintaining prices and interest rates at a very stable level. Our foreign exchange reserves have increased. We have excess of food grains, right? And our exports have increased better than the last time. So if you look at the CPI, if you look at the CPM, if you look at the major indicators which indicate that what we are doing as an economy is very good and our inflation is under control, our unemployment rates in November were lowest in the year. So if you look at these, because what Kohli have rightly mentioned, when you have a big infrastructure project, it creates billions of work hours, Meghaji.
Yeah.
It's not about one work hour, billions of work hours. So when these kind of things start happening, that fundamentally changes the paradigm. That fundamentally changes a lot of things. And that is what has changed the country. And that is what has changed the landscape of the country. So looking into the next year, there are no reasons or apprehensions. If we have survived this storm, we can't be doing better than next year.
All right. Okay, my question number 3 that we asked our people who asked our viewers who took the survey was, how has your family income changed in the past year? And let's take a look. 43% of the people feel that their family income has in fact gone up in a span of the last year that has passed by. 38% of feel that their family income has remained the same. 19% feel that the family income has gone down in the last year. So again, an interesting analysis, an interesting inference that can be brought forth with this survey result that has come out. Sharad, again, in family income that has gone up, which means disposable income has risen, which means people have the capacity to spend it on consumerables and other utilities that they may not have been able to afford earlier.
Yes, and this is Megha, carrying forward and completing your sentence from an analyst point of view. Despite the fact that we had a reasonably high food inflation, the disposable incomes still have been high. Now, there are two sides of this coin. One, I categorize them into two parts. One is people who are self-employed. And we have about 70 million MSMEs or small businesses in this country, which is close to 7 crore small and micro medium enterprises. That is one side of the coin, people who are self-employed and they are job givers. The second side of the coin is job seekers. The percentage of salary hikes, which we have witnessed in the industry has been unprecedented. So all that rant about there's a slowdown, there are no revenue, there are no sales, the bottom lines are slipping, and so and so. I think that gets contradicted. Then how come that people are getting salary hikes? How come we're getting more and more crore-patis now in salaries? I mean, the number of crore-patis is growing like anything. So I think that is where you have to, the taste of the pudding isn't, the enjoyment of the pudding isn't tasting it, not just talking about it. So I think the income on both sides, people who are employed and people who are job givers, I think both sides of the coins have gained, which is the reason why the families feel that their overall incomes have gone up, Megha.
Okay. Sumit, let's hear it from you as well, because there has been criticism, and particularly in this area, talking about how the poor people are becoming poorer, the rich are getting richer, and there's only a small percentage, because that's the criticism that the government has faced over the years since the BJP came to power, and that has been the biggest point on which opposition also continues to harp upon. Now family income going up, 43% of the people voting in favor of their family income going up in the last 12 years. What does that indicate?
You see, Meghaji, as far as the opposition is concerned, they are looking for issues and they are fishing for issues. Even in the bright daylight, they see a cloud and they start jumping on it. That's okay. Look, first of all, your GDP has increased. Secondly, your by PPP, that is purchase power parity, your GDP has again increased. That's the first parameter. Second thing, look at the white goods sales. White goods sales are all-time high, and most of the sales are coming from rural India. Look at the sales of cars and bikes, all-time high, again coming from B, C class types and rural India. And look at the sales of gold on this Dhanteras. Abhi kya na Dhanteras? Look at the sales of gold. They again made a new record. So if you look at all these three parameters, white goods, automobiles, cars, bikes, and Dhanteras, and look at the increase of GDP and look at the increase of PPP. Now, this logic of that there is a slowdown, people don't have money. If people don't have money, where is this money coming into the market for? How are people buying scooters, cars, bikes, TVs, washing machines, fridges, and they're buying gold. And gold was touching almost 80,000 rupees per 10 grams. So at such a higher price, if you have the highest ever gold sales record, what does that tell you? So somewhere down the line, people have disposable incomes, income has increased, and that is the testimony to the proof. But if Rahul ji, Gandhi ji goes to Bindi Bazaar and finds the prices high, he can say economy is not doing well. That's the opinion he's entitled to.
Okay, all right. Let's take a look at the fourth question. Now, this is also important. This is also an indicator of how a person's lifestyle has changed in our country. How happy are you in your life? And that's the survey result. A maximum number of people have voted and said that they are happy with their lifestyle. They're happy with the way they are living. 27% of people say they are very happy. 3% of the people, which is minuscule, say they are very unhappy. 14% of the people say that they are unhappy with the kind of lives they are living. So again, Sharath, important factors. Now, what's integral for a happy life is healthcare, education, food, housing. And then, of course, when we talk about your family income increases, which is going to have a direct impact on how the happiness index of a country is going to change, whether with an upward trend or a downward trend. So, what do you think about it?
Well, this is very easy to answer, decipher and answer both, Megha. I found a very interesting analysis. I found somebody having 10,000 rupees in the bank happy, and I found somebody having 5 lakh rupees in the bank unhappy. So happiness is a very relative term, and the way definition of poverty has changed. Poverty was earlier defined only with having money in the bank, having money in your tijori, having money in your pocket. The new way of defining poverty is whether you have, as you said, whether you've got health care at your access, whether you have education at your access, whether you got sanitation, whether you got a house. If I have all these things and I have lesser money in my bank, which may be true because people in the rural belt especially, you will not have crores in your bank account, but they have access to all these facilities. They have a lifestyle which is probably enjoyed by anybody in the town. The brands may be different, the quality may be different, but you have all those things. So I think that is what the survey says, that happiness is defined by the lifestyle that I am provided with. Happiness is not defined by the quantum of money. I have found people with 10 crore in the bank being very, very, very unhappy. So then if happiness was simply by money, then all the rich people should have been happy, which is not true, which is not true at all.
All right, okay. Sumit, coming to you again, happiness index, when we see year after year, when these surveys are conducted globally, and we see Norway and Sweden and all these European countries with highest happiness indices, do you think the trend is changing in favor of India gradually?
You see, when you look at the European countries, if happiness is sipping a coffee on the seaside in a cafe and having a beer on a beach, well, that is a relative. I may agree, I may not agree to it. But to me, happiness is when you are buying your roti, kapda, makan. What is the amount of money you're paying and what is you're getting in the return? If your money can buy a substantial amount of things, which fortunately in India it does, because I know countries with 143% inflation, like none. I know countries with 90% inflation, Turkey. Go and ask them what is the happiness index and how much your money can buy. Usually in Europe, if you go out, your coffee costs you 7 euros. And if I can go still to a tapri, outside your office, there's still chai available for 5 rupees. So it's up to you. I can go to Oberoi Palace and pay maybe 1,000 rupees for it, or I can buy for 5 rupees. It depends on what you want. But at the end of the day, is there an option? 5 rupees wala option hai ya nahi hai? For me, 5 rupees wali chai is okay. I don't need to spend 1,000 rupees on it. That is what the common man wants. What your money can buy.
Okay. And finally, what we asked our viewers when they took the poll, do you think India will become a developed nation by 2047? And now this is also indicative of what the perception of people is, how do they feel the mood of the public is, and thereby responding in the way that they have. 59% of the people feel that yes, by 2047, India will decisively be a developed nation. Well, 22% of the people are hesitant in making a decision, while 18% of the people feel that no, India has a longer way to go. 2047 is not going to be the landmark year during which India becomes a developed nation. So Sharad, coming to you again, developed nation, that's the dream that has been aspiration of the country of Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the next 50 years, reaching the target of being a developed nation. We are already in the milestone where we are going to become the third biggest economy of the world. We are targeting at making our economy a $35 billion economy. How does this all pan out? 50 years is a long time.
Well, it is a long time, Megha. And when you define a developed country, and in your survey, when your the people went to do the survey, the sample, what is the definition of a developed country? I mean, all of us travel to developed countries. There is no poverty. There's spick and span streets, the railway station, the airports. Everything is very, very well maintained. You don't find beggars on the streets. Although these days I find beggars on some of the very developed countries in the world, like United Kingdom. But then you don't find beggars, people, there is no poor concept there. People have decent income. They've got everything in life which they need. So this is the kind of imagination which Prime Minister Modi has put forth before the people. And at the rate, Megha, at which we are growing, if we are able to accelerate this rate a little more to something around 8 to 10%, I think this is very, very doable. And I think people of India can dream. I don't know how many of us would be there at that time. And I hope, wish and pray may all get long lives, and we should be there to see India becoming a developed country. Okay. But it's a very, very realizable dream. It's not a make-believe kind of an imagination.
Okay, all right. So, Sumit, your comment particularly when, the ideal growth rate needs to be 9 to 10%. It is difficult to achieve. Our growth rate has been reduced to about 6.7% in terms of the forecasts that have been made. How achievable this is, and also understanding that we have a population of youth which is the largest across the globe, and these 35 years are going to be the golden period, and if we utilize this by way of political will and the policies that are going to favor businesses, that are going to favor the growth of the country, only then is this target achievable.
You see, Megha ji, there are two things. I remember when Mr. P. Chidambaram, when we were at 11th economy, he said if Congress is in power, in 3 decades, Congress can take you to the number 5th economy. Then Modi ji did it in 11 years. Now, if you have BJP in power and you have a Prime Minister like Prime Minister Modi who continues to have a revolutionary and a visionary thoughts, I think it's not something which is far beyond our imagination. We have a demographic dividend of which will give us 70 years, more than 800 million youth. We have the third biggest startup ecosystem. They're all creating wealth. It is a question of getting focused on that. And again, let's not compare our development with what Europe defines as development. We'll have our own development criteria and parameters. And if we continue to go like this, I think 47 ka 37 may be ho sakta hai. Okay. But if you say that you're sipping a coffee on a shack in a beach is development and we don't have beaches everywhere, then we'll never be developed that way. But if you quantify acha rehna, a good living, health and care for all, and an affordable thing wherein people and their lives are valued, I think that can be achieved within next 20-25 years because
all right. So on that note, I thank both of you for joining me on the telecast. That is our Bharat Pulse survey. You took a look at the first survey that we conducted about India, about India's growth story. And next up, on the other side of the break, we're talking about governance. And has the government of India been able to make a positive impact and developed the country and ensured welfare of the people? So stay tuned. On the other side, we are discussing the series, which is the Bharat Pulse survey. Stay tuned.
आज सुनो खाने में कोई स्वाद नहीं